doesn't really describe what we do here. No, it's a dinner show. It's a nice Irish night out, which is quite it's sort of a fun experience. It's an unusual experience. You can't do it anywhere else, really. We're only here for one night, Sunday night, so it's a good opportunity to get out, just see a bit of the local tradition, a bit of local culture. You know, you hear Irish music, I'm sure, at home, though quite a lot of it may sound a bit Irish. But of course, a lot of the things we think of as Irish aren't necessarily so. We had a long discussion last week about the four-leaf clover, which people said, but that's Irish. It's not. The shamrock is the Irish symbol. The shamrock is the symbol of St. Patrick. The shamrock is the symbol used to illustrate the idea of the Holy Trinity. So it's the three-lobed leaf. That's significant. The clover is another tradition of somebody else's. I think Hollywood or Disney or somebody like that. But the shamrock is our symbol. You know, the traditional Irish dish, for example. Now I know on St. Patrick's Day. Do any of you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Yes. Do you? Do you? Yes. You do what? Green beer. Green beer. What else do you do? Corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef and cabbage. Corned beef and cabbage. How quaint. We don't. It's true. Corned beef and cabbage, to be honest, is not an Irish dish at all. It was a dish that the Irish ate when they got over there. You know, it was a poor man's food. It was cheap. Here, the cheap food, you see, remember, if you don't have land, if you don't have land, well, it was the cheapest thing they could get, you know, but if you don't have land, you can't keep cattle. You know, you can't keep a cow and feed it on scraps. You can't keep a sheep and feed it on scraps. You can't keep a pig in the yard. So pigs were always the poor man's food. Anywhere in Europe, you look at Italy, the same thing. You know, you keep a pig in the yard if you have no land. And so so traditionally, the dish here that we ate was bacon and cabbage. Now, I don't mean the bacon you had at breakfast this morning, but like what you would probably call a boiled ham. A boiled ham, and then cabbage cooked with cream. And so that was the way. Now, that was our dish. As for green beer, well, if you really think we're going to corrupt Guinness, you must have another thing coming, you know. I mean, that would be sacrilege indeed. So, is that better?
Places that turn the rivers into
Chicago.
Dye the rivers green.
They do. Yeah. I don't know the other places. Chicago.
Well, look, all I can say is it's a great compliment you pay us. That at least one day a year you want to be Irish. That's great, you know. And it's true. It is great. You know, it is a compliment. Because for many years, think of the Duke of Wellington, who was Irish but didn't want to be Irish. You know? So the whole thing's turned full circle. Anyway, we're going out for an evening, traditional Irish evening. So the menu tonight, some of you are asking about the menu there. It's going to be mixed down, but you know, it depends what cook has put on the menu tonight. But it's always very good. There's always a choice. There's usually salmon. There's usually a bit of beef. There's usually Irish stew, which is a big thing here. Irish stew is traditionally lamb here, but very nicely cooked. But you know, I'm not promising what's on the menu tonight. It always changes. So very good.
Betty.
Now this is it. This is the biggest, as I say, the biggest thatched venue in Ireland. It is.
Irish night. Taylor's Cabaret.
Ooh, they even get a Heineken.
Now here comes the car park man. So just hold tight there for a second.
Irish flag shred pretty bad.
Where are we? That's something like that.
See you on YouTube.
You bet.
All right, guys.
What's up, sir?
For ice cubes.
What we say, there's a word slauncher, which means, literally means health. Okay, so it's spelled S-L-A-I-N-T-E. You'll see it written down, but it's pronounced as though it's got a C-H in it, so it's pronounced slauncher. So you raise your glass, slauncher.
Okay, again. I can tolerate it much better.
Well, if you don't like it,
Bottoms up.
just bring it down. It'll stop you getting a cold. It's very good for your knees. This is a bit more meaty. Some people might love it, some people find it a bit drop of water. That's fantastic. If you like.
Julian, yeah, plastic paddy. That's what you call him for the rest of the trip, yeah? Okay, folks, I'm John Keenan. I'm the owner here. You're very, very welcome. Small but select few. As much as you want to drink, eat, and we want to see you partying and dancing and having a general good time, all right? The pub is dating from 1640, and it's the largest and highest thatch roof, straw roof building in Europe today. It was the original country cottage belonging to the Taylor family, hence the name, and the tree rock at the end of it comes from the mountain behind us, which is called Tree Rock Mountain, part of the Dublin mountain range, Dublin and Wicklow mountain range. We any single ladies on board? Oh, you're lucky. Oh, you're lucky, yeah. It's the hunting season. And our band happened to be 3 eligible bachelors from County Meath. That's Jerry, yeah? He's the hunter-gatherer. He hunts all the girls and brings them back to the rest of the guys, alright? And they've loads of money as well. Like years ago, Irishmen went after women from all over the world for money. Now we have the money, so these guys are loaded. And he's oh, the whiskey, that's right, he pays for the whiskey to get you drunk. Folks, we like to do a little Irish toast. So if you raise your glass and repeat after me, the Irish toast goes, I've drank to your health at funerals. I've drank to your health at home. I've drank to your health so many times I've almost ruined my own. And you say Sláinte. And I know I don't have to tell you to get rid of it all because you're doing quite well already. If you paid for it, you enjoy the evening. You can have as much whiskey as you want. There's wine on the table. Martina will be looking after the room here with Rebecca. They're your servers and gonna spoil you rotten all evening. Now, there'll be more whiskey if you want it. There's a bottle on that table. I'll put another bottle out and you can walk away yourselves. Don't overdo it though. Right, we have one other thing. Later on in the evening, we do a competition. See, the whiskey is working already. They just can't stop talking. 2 minutes ago, they wouldn't even say hello to each other. And now they're going, you hear them, look? See that? The whiskey, it loosens the tongue, yeah? Right, hello?
I really do.
Right, later on, the guys are going to call up a couple of people, or maybe one or two, and we're going to do a competition to see if the whiskey is working. It's a tongue twister, and I'm going to teach it to you now, and then whoever's called up, the prize for this will be either one of our t-shirts. Anyone modelling a t-shirt here this evening, or Taylor's t-shirt, or Taylor's baseball hat, if you get it right, or one of the band's latest CDs. Now this is no ordinary CD. These guys are after winning the Fleadh Cheoil here in Ireland, which is the battle of all the Irish trad and ballad bands, and these guys come out on top. It took place in Drogheda, which you'll be going through tomorrow, is it? You heading for Belfast tomorrow, is it? Yeah, you'll be going through Drogheda tomorrow. And these guys won the Fleadh Cheoil, so you're in for a real treat, a real lively evening of traditional and ballad music. But let's get back to the job in hand. The tongue twister. Repeat after me. I'm not the pheasant plucker. I'm the pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes. I'll do one more time, right? Now this is before the whiskey has a chance to get through the blood, right? I'm not the pheasant plucker. I'm the pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes. Now you can rehearse that for the evening. Don't try it while you're eating, alright? Now we want you to have a wonderful evening. I'd like to see you up dancing, do a bit of an old waltz or a jig. There's Rebecca, otherwise known as Smiler at the back. She just got engaged yesterday. She's only 17. Alright folks, have a wonderful evening. Say hello to Jerry here. Jerry. He's our fiddle player extraordinaire.
Hello, Jerry. Hello, Jerry. I can feel the whiskey in my head already.
Anyone for more whiskey? You'd be thrown out of the country.
I'm gonna thank you later.
Why do I have this sinking feeling like it's old music from the movies?
I don't know, Barry, why?
In South Australia, round Cape Horn, and you sing, we're bound for South Australia. Can you do that? We're bound for South Australia. Okay, and whether it's verse or chorus, or what verse it is, or what chorus it is, doesn't matter. That's what you sing all the time. You see, the assumption was always the foreman was a very clever guy and the crew were stupid. So they gave them the same thing to sing all the time. But we know you're not stupid, but it's just the way the song is. Okay, so here we go. In South Australia I was born. Heave away, haul away. In South Australia, round Cape Horn. We're bound for South Australia. Haul away a rolling king. Heave away, haul away. Haul away, now hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. As I went out one morning fair. Heave away, haul away. 'Twas there I met Miss Nancy Blair. We're bound for South Australia. Haul away a rolling king. Heave away, haul away. Haul away, oh hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. There is but one thing grieves my mind. Heave away, haul away. That's leaving Nancy Blair behind. We're bound for South Australia. Haul away a rolling king. Heave away, haul away. Haul away, oh hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. And as we wallop around Cape Horn. Heave away, haul away. Yeah, wish to God you'd never been born. We're bound for South Australia. Haul away a rolling king. Heave away, haul away. Haul away, oh hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. Haul away a rolling king. Heave away, haul away. Haul away, oh hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. Fair play to you, well done.
It's a single drum, and it's an Irish drum kit. It's very easy to bring around with you. It started life as a goat, which we brought down from the mountains and stretched over this little bit of timber. So he makes a nice sound now. We've got 3 Bowrons here, which Jerry is going to pick 3 volunteers. 3 goats. To come up on stage and join us for a little bit of Bowron mania after this set. So,
Well, where are you guys from, by the way? You from the US or Canada or?
All over.
Both? US, some from Canada, is it? Australia!
well,
Ireland! Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, the tune we're going to go into after this is called Morrison's Jig. And James Morrison was a fiddler from Sligo who went down to America in the 1920s and was one of the first big recording artists in Irish music in America in the 20s and 30s. So that's the tune we're going into afterwards.
so the original rock group came from Sligo. I've been learning something new tonight.
There you go. Near Banbridge town in the county down, one morning last July, from a morning drink came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the shine of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing rapture, I shook myself for to see if I was really there. From the Mountain Bay of Derry Kay, of Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen with true Colleen that I met in the county down. As she onward sped, sure as match my head, and I gazed at the feeling rare. And I said hi to a passerby, who's a maid with a nut brown hair. He smiled at me and he says he, there's a gem of Ireland's crown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks
Oh,
I have a question.
yes.
Some lady coming
Does he have,
up on stage.
no, does he have some extra joints in his head?
We need 3 volunteers.
How does he do it?
One from each table. Very simple. One from this.
Can you do it and let me know? So I'm fascinated by that.
Yay!
Somebody from this table. Come on. Hello. Why? Cassie. One from this table. Somebody.
So we have Hella from Philadelphia. It's a hell of a place, Philadelphia. I think that's how she got her name, isn't it? We have Kathy from Phoenix, Arizona. Lovely.
Lorraine from down under.
So Lorraine all the way from Australia. Okay. So we have Hella from Philadelphia. Sorry? We have Kathy from Arizona and Lorraine from Australia, and David's going to show each of them how to hold a stick and how to beat the goat skin. It's just to make sure that the goat is dead before you start playing a tune. So once you have the knack of that and you're sure the goat's dead, your goat's half disappeared. That's right, yeah. He had a tough life, that one did. So, okay, it looks like Hella and Kathy have got going anyway. Now we're on to Lorraine. She already knows how to play. Oh, look, she's a clever woman. She's a clever woman. Right, okay, so we're going to get them all to play a tune with us now, and after that, we're going to get each of them to do a little solo performance. Okay? So, are you ready, everybody? Okay, we'll go after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So first up for our solo performance, we got Hella from Philadelphia. Are you ready? Solo. Well, look, give it your best shot. Okay, we're going to go after 4. You okay, Adam? Okay. Good. Okay. After 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Okay, next up from Phoenix, Arizona, we have
Big Smilings.
Big Smilings. Kathy. Right, I can't hear you. Ready? David, are you ready? Are you all right there, David?
Oh yeah.
Do you know how this thing goes? Yeah. I think we need to teach him. He's supposed to be teaching everybody else. Lord above. Okay. Are you ready, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fair play to you, Captain. That's excellent. Very good. Very good. Well done. Well done. And from way down under in Australia, Lorraine, are you ready?
More or less.
You're going to be grand. We're going to go after 4, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's a great bunch we have over here tonight, I must say. Very good, very good. So, listen, we're going to ask each of our guests to just step forward one way around, remind you of who we are, and we want you to give them a big round of applause, and whoever gets the biggest round of applause is tonight's winner. Okay? So, first up, all the way from Philadelphia, we had Ella. Next up from Phoenix, Arizona, Cathy. Let's hear it for Cathy. And from way down under in Australia, we have Ray. Well, David, what do you think?
I think they were all winners.
Yeah, fair play to you. That's great. What part of Australia are you from? Queenstown.
Maybe we should take a step outside.
A step down.
She died of a fever. And no one could save her. David, this is supposed to be sad. You're not a cheerleader at a football match. I think that was always his ambition. He wanted those little skirts, with little shaky things and everything, didn't he? Yeah. Well, okay. And that was the end of Sweet Molly Malone. Oh Jesus, there's the ambulance come to take her away. Oh, the ambulance crashed. Now we've 2 dead bodies on our hands. Now her ghost wheels her barrow. Jesus, somebody sounded like I don't know what. Through the streets broad and narrow, crying. And muscles alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and muscles alive, alive, oh, one more time, alive, alive, oh.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've almost come to the end of our show. We've one more task to carry out. Earlier on, our host Johnny was here and he got us to learn a little rhyme. Do you remember? No? About the little pheasant plucker? Who's going to come up and recite it first? Somebody has to come up. No, we're going to nominate yourselves now. This gentleman, are you going to come up? You don't remember, we'll help you. Come around this way. Harry is going to recite it, and you're going, Greg, you're going to repeat it after him. Is that all right?
Yes.
Does that understand?
Yes.
Have you plenty of whiskey in you?
Not enough that I could have, but yes, enough.
Okay, you ready, Greg?
I'm ready.
I'm not the pheasant plucker.
I'm not the pheasant plucker.
I'm the pheasant plucker's son.
I'm the pheasant plucker's son.
I'm only plucking pheasants
I'm only plucking pheasants
till the pheasant plucker comes.
till the pheasant plucker comes.
Well done. Okay, yeah. Yeah, just a little bit faster.
I thought we were supposed to.
I'm not the pheasant plucker.
I'm not the pheasant plucker.
I'm the pheasant plucker's son.
I'm the pheasant plucker's son.
I'm only plucking pheasants
I'm only plucking pheasants
till the pheasant plucker comes.
till the pheasant plucker comes.
Well done, fair play to you. Very good. Bad sign, they didn't give him enough whiskey. Okay. So. Now. Big round of applause.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we've almost come to the end of our show tonight. Will you show your appreciation on whistles, on guitar, and on vocals? Mr. Harry Long! And the multi-talented, playing both the fiddle and violin all at once, Mr. Jerry Duggan!
And on keyboards, Baron, and vocals, David Evan.
Just before you go, Jerry will be doing his marketing at the door as you go out. And if you liked what you heard tonight, and you want a little sample of what we do, Jerry will be selling some CDs after the show. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience. We're going to leave you with a piece. Harry is going to explain a little bit about it, and it's very apt at this time of year.
Well, this is a couple of reels that we composed recently, and the first tune is called A Reel Around the Sun, and the second one's called The Doubt Reel, and both tunes commemorate the ancient monuments of Ireland that captured the sun at different times of the year, especially Newgrange, which captures sunrise on the winter solstice, and Doubt, the second tune, is called The Doubt Reel. Doubt is less known than Newgrange, but at sunset on the winter solstice, the sun enters the passage in Doubt, and these are 5,000-year-old passage tunes. So it's the time of the year for it. The winter solstice is only 3 weeks away. So this is A Reel Around the Sun and The Doubt Reel.
mountains over the right shoulder. And that's the family homestead down there. There's a big plaque there declaring who was born. Now, over the border we come into Northern Ireland. So the problem was this then, just very briefly, and I don't want to get into a huge debate because it's so complicated and it's probably not of interest to all. But so Northern Ireland remained part of the United Kingdom, and the rest became independent. That was 1922. So what's the problem? Well, the problem up here was that it was a compromise, and it's a pencil line on a map. It's no more solid than that. You know, that pencil line, the border was drawn, and of course a pencil line, when you magnify it up to real scale, it's very thick. You know, it's about half a mile wide, that pencil line. So that the border, bizarrely, runs through villages, it runs through farms. There's even one family, two brothers, who live on a farm on the border of Northern Ireland and the Republic. One part of the farm is in the Republic, one part of the farm is in Northern Ireland. One part of the farmhouse is in the Republic, one part of the house is in Northern Ireland. The two brothers, they claim their pension in Northern Ireland because they could do better, but they pay their taxes in Southern Ireland. If they move from one bedroom to the other, they move from one country to the other. You know, that's how foolish the whole thing is. But what you ended up here in Northern Ireland was a population who were divided. So they're remembering 1916 and seeing that 1966, that woman with the revolver there, that's Countess Markovitz, who is regarded by some as a hero of the revolution, as others a woman who shot an unarmed policeman in the corner of Stephen's Green. But these were the streets where a lot of the trouble took place. We have the Republican streets here, and we have the Loyalist streets backing onto them on the other side. And the army were here to try and keep the two sides separate. But of course, the army became an enemy in themselves. So it was a three-way conflict. And one of the things that really brings it home to me, I have to say, as we come up the Falls Road here, you see it's very poor housing up here in the 1960s and 70s, run down, poor sanitation, terrible conditions for people. You notice how much new housing has gone up now here. You see all these houses on the right, bright, clean, you know, sanitary, pleasant houses. These would all be public housing now, corporation housing or council housing, you might call it. But as we come up through here, one of the things that brings it home to me, I must say, is when you see a police car here. Look on the right, the gift of a man born in Dunfermline in Scotland, and who went to America, made his fortune in the steel industry, and then provided libraries and concert halls for the education of the masses. Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie, the motto above the door, let there be light. Then here on the right, Bobby Sands there, who was famously one of the hunger strikers, who went on strike because they wanted to distinguish themselves from the criminals who were imprisoned. They claimed political status, and therefore they wanted to wear not prison uniform but wear their own civilian clothes. And they were... Sorry, ladies.
Hops for 450.
And they went on strike. They then went on hunger strike, and Bobby Sands was one of a number who actually starved themselves to death in protest against their criminal status in prison, saw themselves as political prisoners rather than criminals. And so he's remembered there on the gable wall. Thank you, George. That's great. You know, one of the things that brings it home to me, I must say, when you drive around Belfast now, you see it so peaceful and so quiet, is to see a police car. Now, you may think seeing a police car is nothing particularly exciting, but it is for us, because for so many years you never saw a police car in this part of Belfast. You never saw a police car because it wasn't safe to drive a police car through here. The police, when they did come out on the streets, came out in Land Rovers with a rubber skirt around the bottom to stop people rolling petrol bombs underneath, armoured glass and grills over the windows. That was when things were looking pretty peaceful. In times of conflict,
Apparently all students, Bill's telling me, they do it every year. Pub crawl. Oh my god.
Oh, it's a pub crawl.
That's amazing.
Santa pub crawl.
You've got your photos, guys, yeah?
I guess it's a Santa climb the tree crawl too. That's great. That is so funny.
Yeah, you got presents to deliver. That's just confusing.
It's pretty funny. Oh my goodness.
Say, could you tell us where Santa Street is?
Crazy. That is so funny. Oh my God.
Bunch of fake
I got Santas and elves and Mrs. Elves and Mrs. They're drinking right there on the street. Santa drinking.
What are they supposed to be?
Oh, look at her, she's so cute.
God, they were attacking the bus.
Call me. Did you see him? He's like, call me.
You're late, Santas.
Yeah, this is what's happening.
There's a few stray ones left here.
They do it in groups, but not college. They do
There's got to be a few thousand, hasn't there? Wouldn't you say?
At least.
No beer.
There's more. Oh, fun to be young.
But he's got his beard on, look.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's more of it on the right there.
Wow, they're still coming.
Can you believe this?
It's time to let it go out
is burning low. Only miss the sun when it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hit the road and you miss the home. Only know you love her when you let her go. And you let her go. Thank you.
You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird sing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbirds fly into the light of the cold black night.
Let's see if we can see it. I can see the top of it, and I'm sitting on the right-hand side of the boat, scrunched down here. But that's Southwark Cathedral. Good view to the left now. First place of worship on that site, 607. John Harvard was christened there in 1607, and one of William Shakespeare's younger brothers is buried there as well. Southwark Cathedral. The London Borough of Southwark stretches for many miles away to the left-hand side. Now on the right-hand side, we have two brick towers. You guys on the left, I don't know if you can see them, but two brick towers sticking up above a railway station. Now when Cannon Street railway station here on the right was built in the 1950s, it's where we discovered the Roman governor's palace, the Basilica and the Forum 2,000 years ago. So literally a quarter of a mile, half a mile to the right was the heart of Roman London. This is a rail bridge of no great significance, though. Well, it's weekend today and it serves a financial district, so Monday to Friday, no trains today.
Train just went over. We just seen one.
Maybe out there.
Ruined the story. You lie, Jason.
So, yeah, the next bridge we're going to pass under in a minute, it's a 1920s cast iron bridge painted green. It's called Southwark. Yeah, S-O-U-T-H-W-A-R-K. We pronounce it Southwark. We drop W's all over the place. Yeah, Southwark Bridge.
Oh, for goodness sake. It's gone.
And then back to the Globe Theatre again in a moment on the left-hand side. I remember actually visiting the Globe when they were constructing it in the mid-1990s. What a labour of love that was, and the whole plan for the rebuilding of it came from the American film director Sam Wanamaker, who came over here in the early 50s. Couldn't believe there was nowhere in London where we commemorated Shakespeare. So the Globe to the left, the white building behind a string of lights, really was the theatre that he was responsible for raising the money for. It opened in '97.